Yo ho ho ho! It's your Soul King Kraz back with another character guide. On this installment, we will be taking a look at one of the game's most underrated power types. A character who has done the unthinkable, and with his unique ability to wield two devil fruits, we will learn today just how Marshall D. Teach, one of the four Emperors of the Sea, is one of the most powerful burst damage characters in Pirate Warriors 4. Now, out of all the power types in the base game, most characters with the power type tend to fall under a very generic brand of attack strings. All of their attacks take place on the ground, with their air game being extremely limited. However, what you'll want to keep in mind with Blackbeard is that he also has a mechanic where all of your dark fruit attacks that put an enemy into this unique status effect that we'll just call darkness for the sake of time. What it does is the darkness status effect binds your enemies under the ground, allowing Blackbeard's Quake Fruit to deal multiplicative damage to them. And when I say that, Nylin has done a lot of data mining. One of our big time Discord Pirate Warriors has done a lot of data mining on this game and found that Blackbeard's darkness status effect causes enemies to take up to 3.2 times more damage from your Quake Fruit abilities. Hundreds of percentages more damage are at your fingertips with this character. Your Quake damage is going to scale tremendously once an enemy is bound in darkness, so I like my special skills to reflect a powerful Hidden Resolve build. You'll want to run Hidden Resolve and Deadly Cadence, so that not only will your specials restore stamina, they will also give you invincibility. Force Burst is still going to be a huge source of damage for you. And unlike other Logia characters in this game, Blackbeard still takes damage. This is an odd hidden passive that kind of separates him, much like Law's Paramecia Fruit is still treated as a Logia in this game. A lot of weird little technicalities that you could take apart. Ultimately, for base game owners who only have 6 skill slots, you'll want to run Hidden Resolve, Deadly Cadence, Force Burst Enhancement. Hero Strength is also a must, I'd say. Cheat Death is another must. And then your 6th skill, I would recommend running another tool to help out with stamina, like Burning Resolve. However, if you don't have the base game, you'll have 12 skill slots, so I would recommend Moonwalk instead, if you have the DLC. I'll be outlining all of this in the video description below. For your skills, you could say that Revelation may not necessarily be as powerful as Dark Matter or as the Man Who Shakes the World. But since I already run this on my Whitebeard, I like to have a variety of skills aesthetically, and Dark Matter is also a pretty interesting looking attack, but it tends to take longer to come out than Revelation does. And Revelation offensively offers a lot for this build, and especially since it's a Hidden Resolve build, you'll be able to pull it out more frequently. Plus, we'll also see how the hitbox of Revelation is deceptively very powerful as well. Peerless Strength is very powerful. On every Emperor in the game, I like to run Resilience and Worked Up, especially if they're not a tech type already. Then this will allow Emperors to run on the most force burst uptime, and since most Emperors also run on a crazy amount of damage, you get the idea. So let's get in there and show off his moveset real quick. So now what you just saw there, his aerial dash is going to be your primary means of moving around. For whatever reason, his air dash is just outrageously fast. Allows for a tremendous amount of horizontal travel time. Now, your light string. It's just a standard quake. However, what you'll also notice on all of your light strings, there seems to be sort of a well of gravity that pulls enemies towards you. Very similar to Fujitora as well. And Laws, Rook, to an extent, will also do this as well. So this almost gives Blackbeard a very like tech-type character feel to his combo strings. Now his light heavy is a command grab with this AoE attached to the end of it. It's pretty solid against mobs, but if you're fighting a guy with a name, even pirate commanders can take advantage of how weak this attack's damage output is, and of how long it takes for the AoE to really set into effect. Your light, heavy string does the dark water special, and it also does a tremendous area of effect grouping. So what I like to usually do is cancel out of it before the final hit. Maybe sometimes with a Dark Sphere, maybe sometimes with a Revelation. Your light, heavy, as you can see there, is by far and away Blackbeard's best attack for just hitting a lot of enemies at once. And it will also put them in the darkness effect. So before the liberation hits, you want to cancel out of the attack's animation. As you can see, the darkness effect lasts for quite a while. You can basically just leave them down there. But once their armor bar recovers, that's when they'll rise back to the surface. And here we'll just show that again on this guy. So once his armor is restored, he does float back to the surface. Actually, with that in mind, Devastating Impact might actually be a better skill to run on Blackbeard as well if you want to leave them under the darkness effect for a longer period of time. For my build, you're not really going to need to worry about it. You're just going to deal so much damage that you won't even need to really worry about leaving them in the darkness for a longer period of time anyways. There goes Liberation, just for good measure. Now your light heavy is Black River, which is a returning attack from Power Wars 3 as well. It allows you to control a portable kind of black hole, and it lets you just move it around you in any direction that you set the movement to. And the final hit creates this little darkness pillar for additional damage. What's good about the pillar of darkness attached to River is that it does not detonate anybody. In fact, it actually puts them into more of a darkness status effect. So it refreshes it. So both of these moves are honestly equally effective at putting enemies in darkness for different purposes. Hole is better for just dealing with mobs very, very fast. whereas River is better for dealing with hordes of continuous offense coming at you. As you can see there, it's just swallowing up an entire column of enemies. Now what you just saw there was my aerial heavy move, which is another Quake attack. Your light strings final move is a Quake attack. Your light heavies final hit is a Quake attack. It's very visual which ones are Quake ones too. The hits on your command grab are all Quake attacks. And then finally you have your Forest Burst, which will also put enemies into the darkness effect. Now what you're seeing with this guy here, since his armor has a sliver left, it took him a while to pop out as normal. And naturally having a faster attack rate on this character is going to pay off tremendously, so you can deal more Quake damage. Your grounded heavy attack will also deal Quake damage as well. And it'll also come out fast enough on the ground where you could consider using it practically. Although, frankly, sometimes it'll be faster and more efficient to use your launcher into the Quake, because your launcher will also deal damage as well. And then what you'll see here too is the Dark Sphere special. Keeps enemies grouped up near it, even at very slow increments. It'll even work against giant characters. The darkness status effect will also work on giant characters. Although with some, you will unfortunately have to wait until their armor is broken for the darkness to actually take effect. Gotta do you dirty there, Whitebeard. I also really like using Blackbeard's Big Bang ult and your light heavy. If you cancel into Big Bang before the smash damage applies, you'll be able to hit a ton of enemies that are almost definitely going to be armor broken. And if you time it perfectly, you'll be able to string a bit of smash damage into an ult for even more damage. I've used a lot of Blackbeard's specials enough times to know that this is the build I prefer at this point. I have to say though, Dark Sphere just feels like such an essential tool. The fact that it'll even pull Logia characters, the fact that it will deal chip damage to armor, and then we just get that Logia caught up in the darkness status effect long enough to pull a Big Bang for, wow, for a kill literally seconds before the quake damage even hit. And if you just manage to string all of your combos up with this build, you just kill non-stop. You just walk back and forth. Blackbeard honestly has so much means of doing Black Hole without having to actually use Black Hole that sometimes I won't even need to use any of his longer strings because he can just keep enemies constantly in a state of darkness even without it. Although Black Hole is a ridiculously fast way to get enemies exactly where you need them. And Deadly Cadence does also do wonders since Blackbeard unfortunately does not stay invulnerable even in his Force Burst. That is a very important fact to remember with him. Otherwise you will get annihilated. Let's just show this off on a leader real quick before we go into a proper speedrun. So I do also want to put Devastating Impact onto my build as well. Playing Blackbeard a lot of the time back in the day, it was difficult to get kill counts quickly with him because all of his attacks would end with a very lengthy animation, and if you don't know about dash canceling, and if you don't know about canceling out of his earlier, more practical hits like I do, then it takes you a very long time to generate high kill counts with him. Let's see how well my build performs under a little pressure. And now, another trick that I forgot to mention earlier, since his Force Burst has such a lengthy startup time, one thing I like to do is I like to put any Logia or named characters into darkness before using Force Burst. That way it guarantees that you can start setting up a lengthy combo without worrying about them bursting at all. Unlike what I just did there. Let's get out of there. There goes Prospero. And let's get a guaranteed kill. Oh, no way. He actually bursted? What a punk. How embarrassing. Alright, let's get out of this darkness mess real quick. Let's see if I can one-shot Law right now. Yep! So that's what I meant by the Quake damage having multiplicative properties when they're darkness effect, is that you'll just one-shot enemies with them. Oh yeah, another good thing about the darkness status effect, it will work on enemies even if their armor is not broken. This is massively good. Alright, let's go just wipe these guys real quick. I would like to not be locked in now. This probably won't kill Whitebeard, but... Oh, there's a chance it does! Even when he wasn't absorbed. Yeah, so that's the other thing about Big Bang, by the way. Big Bang is definitely Blackbeard's strongest ult in the available game. Even though it does take light years to connect. There we go. Come here, Mugiwara. Yep. Blackbeard continues to do insane work in record time. Go grab that transport commander. There we go. Excited to be rounding off the last of the few warlords that are available in this game. There is one more character guide that I have been eagerly anticipating for the next one. And the final warlord of this game, who has yet to be done a character guide for. Blackbeard's always been fun enough, and the darkness status effect has also always been incredibly overpowered. Once you know how to sequence everything together fast enough and fluidly enough, Blackbeard's unique aerial quake allows you to string together some goofy stuff and be a big nuisance in a big way. But if we're talking about being a true nuisance, then the next character guide for Don Quixote do Flamingo proved to be quite useful as well. Stay tuned.